is. If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to episode 432 of Picks and Ponies right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your very proud host, Howard Kravitz. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Can you feel the energy and the excitement? We are a little over 2 weeks away from the 2025 Breeders' Cup. I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing. I'm representing my Breeders' Cup hat. But I'll tell you what, tonight, we're here to talk about some great racing in New York. It is the first time they're having the Fall Starter Championships. It's an homage to the wonderful claiming horses throughout the country that really support us, the bettors, and the public and the owners and trainers every single day. It's the backbone of our industry. And I think it's great that there is a day in New York specifically for the claiming horses. And we're here to talk about the late pick 5 this Saturday, October 18th. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about one stake race and then 4 other races within this Fall Starter Championship. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, bottom right-hand side of the screen, notification bell, top right-hand corner on YouTube, and smash that like button below the video player. We'd greatly appreciate. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. You can also follow us on X at HHH Racing Pod. We have over 3,300 followers, and we're getting very close, ladies and gentlemen, to 6,000 followers on YouTube, subscribers. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, the bottom right-hand side of the screen, so we can reach that goal of 6,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. We have a great tip sheet as well. We have 2 of them. Our regular one, look below the video player, Power Picks tip sheet. You can get it through Patreon. Information, again, below the video player. It comes out on Saturdays. Very profitable, very inexpensive. We also have a special Breeders' Cup Power Pick tip sheet. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, and you can find out about that on our great website, hhhracingpodcast.com. And finally, we are sponsored very proudly by the Adelphi Racing Club. I've got a runner next Wednesday. As our co-host might be aware, there is a additional date next week due to the rain out with the nor'easter. They are running they're running this Wednesday in 6 days. And one of the horses I have a ownership piece of with Adelphi Racing, good old Gem in 10, who's actually training really well, is running next Wednesday. So very excited about that in race 7. Little change in the plans with my co-hosts tonight for very good reasons. Mr. Visco, as you might have heard last week, is out of town with his family, and Paul Halloran has a business meeting. So I went to call on the ever popular from Cali, Jackson Muniz. Jackson, how you doing tonight?
What's up, Howard? How's it going, man?
It's doing good. Jackson, of course, co-hosts on Pacific Horse Players, co-host with the Gallop Out, writes for In the Money Media, jack of all trades, master of hopefully none, hopefully master of the late pick 5, Jackson, on Saturday. I was talking very briefly with everyone, as I'll go ahead, bring us on a little bit full screen here. I like these races. These races, just to clarify that we're going to be talking about, except for the graded stake, it's called the Fall Starter Championships. These are horses that have to be claimed for a certain maximum value depending on the race. The races we're covering is a maximum value of $50,000 or less since July 1st, 2024. So in the last 15 months, all these horses have been claimed for $50K or less at some point. And Jackson, some of these horses are now grade stake horses, others not as much. So you would think, oh, this is going to be an easy race to the handicap because some of these horses are coming out of grade stakes and others are coming out of 25 claiming non-winners of 2. Not so much, my friend. This is a difficult, fun sequence.
I started handicapping these yesterday, and I was going through each and every one, and I'm like, this is a really tough race. Then I got the next one. Okay, this may not be. Nope, this was a tough one too. The next one, yeah, I think 9 horses can win that one. They're very, very difficult. It should be a lot of fun, though. I mean, I think it's one of these sequences where if you're also playing it vertically, you probably only need to be right once, and you're going to have yourself a pretty good day, because there are some horses that are at prices that are going to be very, very enticing.
Yeah, and like Tom said at the bottom of the screen, some people are taking a little break, the next week or two. I get it. I will readily admit I'm definitely lowering my bankroll and when I'm playing the next 2 weekends. But I mean, look, there's a huge pick 5 carryover tomorrow at Keeneland. This we're about to cover is really good. You don't have to spend even your usual on money, Jackson, to make a score. And if you want to spend less, think a horizontal play is the way to go. Play some double, throw through a few win bets out there. I wouldn't suggest people just do nothing the next 2 weeks. You do want to stay on your game. I'm not suggesting that, over a 2-week period, Jackson, people are going to forget on handicap, but I would recommend people maybe playing a little bit just to keep the juices flowing.
Yeah, I told my good friend Mikey P on Sunday night, I said, you know what? I think I'm going to take a little break. It's been a rough week. We got Brewers Cup coming up. And then Monday morning, my dad called me. Hey, I didn't know San Diego was running on today on Monday. Do you want to go? And,
oh, wow.
We went to the races on Monday, so that lasted about 12
hours. Oh, wow. Cool. Okay. Right. I know. Everyone's got these plans, and then we end up betting. What's up, Terry Frank? Oh, Terry's on a different handle there. What's up, Terry? How are you? Last thing, Jackson, we'll get right into the races. I mentioned at the beginning, I do think it's important to support these claiming horses because, look, not everyone's Godolphin, not everyone's, Rapoli, not everyone can spend this kind of money. The claiming game is really the bread and butter of this industry. And if we don't support these horses and allow them to run for bigger purses once in a while, we're really doing them a disservice, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely important to support these horses. And, these horses are some of my favorite in the country because they run so damn often. Some of them run 12, 15 times a year. They're running every 3 weeks, and a lot of them are very, very consistent. They're very easy to root for, and definitely want to support them.
Yep, absolutely. So let's go ahead and get into, as I'm changing a few things here on the screen that I want to get settled here. Again, these are going to be the last 5 races at Aqueduct. Baby got back, as I like to say, on Saturday. Now, the first race, which I'm going to bring up here in just a second, is actually not part of the Fall Starter Championship. We should also mention, Jackson, what's going on 1 month from now, because we might see some of these horses running again in a different locale.
Yeah, I think you said it was off air. It was November 15th, I believe. Churchill Downs has their own version of this, and I know they did it last year too, and it was very similar. I do remember that card. It was just loaded fields, 12 horses each race, very, very competitive. So good catch by you. I would anticipate some horses that run well this week and would probably show up that weekend as well.
Yeah, the claiming crown to be run at Churchill Downs on November 15th. Always huge fields. Claiming crown's been around a long time, Jackson, even before you were alive. I remember it goes way back. It's been run at some really cool places that you probably don't even know where. Like they ran at Canterbury Park in Minnesota a few years. I mean, it's been run all over the place. It's really a fun day, and that's going to be next month. But this is also going to be a great day on Saturday. Let's get into it. Race 7, Sands Point, Grade 2, obviously not part of the Fall Starter Championship races. A mile and eighth, restricted for the 3-year-old fillies. Of course, the big race last weekend was the QE2. There aren't any QE2 quality horses here like Lush Lips, but this is a nice field and competitive field of 8, starting with the favorite, the number 5, Ready for Candy, the Canadian bred for Phil Antonucci and Mr. Santana. Let's see where we're going here with our picks on the screen. I'm going 5-2-7. I'm going to chalk out. Jackson's going 2-5-3. Jackson, I thought I was getting a little cheeky with Fast Market 8-1. Apparently not, my friend. You smoked him out. One of the reasons I know this horse is, unfortunately for me, selfishly, he crushed a nice Adelphi horse named Bint Al Dandy, and that race came out of nowhere. So I'm very familiar with Fast Market, who ran really well last time. Obviously, she's on the come. You like her a lot at a price.
Yeah, hopefully it's a case of great minds think alike, because we both have this 8-1 shot in the mix here. And you kind of said it. A race came from absolutely nowhere, because this is not a filly that's lightly raced. She hasn't, it wasn't her 3rd career start, and she just took a step forward. She's been running pretty often. That was her 9th career start. This is going to be her 10th. But boy, she looked good. She looked really good that day, because it's not like she got a crazy setup in there. They didn't go particularly fast. She made her move late in the stretch, and she blew that field away. The number came back really strong, and this is also a number that you can feel pretty confident in, because the horses behind them, while they're not exactly win machines, they're running the same number every single time, and they're picking up checks consistently. So, the number, it is what it is. If she repeats that effort, I think she can be very dangerous in here. wasn't completely in love with the favorites in this spot. I mean, you can see right there on the screen, she was clearly best in that race, and if she's able to repeat that effort, I don't see any reason why she can't make some noise in here at a number.
Nah, she did it really well, and I didn't use her in the pick 5 that day. And I was really upset with myself because this was a fresh face in this race in terms of stretching back out. John Terranova, they interviewed him after the race, Jax. I don't know if you caught that on a replay or you went back and watched the NYRA coverage there, but he said they always thought a lot of her and they wanted to stretch her back out. And now they're stretching out again. The question for me really is not the talent, because I think she's got talent. Can she handle the 1.8 miles? This is a violence filly out of a Street Cry mare. So the bottom certainly says distance. The top, I'm not so sure. This is a big ask, but this is a fresh face in a race that has a lot of meh in it to me.
Sure. Yeah, and to John's point, I mean, they tried her in a stake race as a maiden at Keeneland, and that's how much they thought of her at one point. Obviously, things didn't quite work out there, but there were definitely expectations for this filly, and hopefully she finally put it together last time.
Yeah, I mean, look, the dam was in Europe, right? I mean, went 1.5 miles in the Santa Barbara. Okay, didn't run great, but it's not as if there isn't some breeding going long here. And Terranova is a pretty smart guy. I feel the same way as you do. I've got this one second. I just don't think they're going to put her in this race if they don't think she can handle it. She's gotten a month since the last race. Has 2 works, sort of maintenance sprees last time, and then a solid work on October 5th. Actually, I think she's live. I think she does have to beat the number 5 Ready for Candy, though. Ready for Candy took a small step back last time in terms of the buyers, but 2 back, she broke her maiden, completely freaked with an 87. And I'll tell you what, Jackson, I don't see a lot of early speed in this race. I know Santana didn't go to the lead last time, but the filly didn't break great last time, and I don't think really had things her own way and still ended up winning. In this race, they do have the 2 actually out front, your top choice, and they have Ready for Candy in from behind. I think the break is going to matter a lot. I have a hard time believing Fast Market's going to be on the lead here, Jackson, just because she was so effective coming off it. But, when she went to the lead early in her career, she wasn't as good. So do you think that Marin is going to go to the lead? Or do you think they might stalk the 5 or someone else here?
I would love them to just play the break. I mean, if you I'm a big speed handicapper. If you inherit the lead, you go. But if someone else with this filly wants to just go over, then you sit the pocket, save as much ground as possible, and get a target like you did last time. It seemed to work pretty well on the 21st. So hopefully that's the case again on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting horse. Very quickly, you've got Winfinity at a price for John Ortiz, who is a Virginia bred facing Open Company now. I also have the number 7 Paradise City. There's a bunch of horses coming out of that Ready for Candy race. I'm not going to show it, Jackson, but Paradise City, who this was her first time on turf, I thought ran really well. And the race, I won't say fell apart, but I mean, some of the horses that did well were coming from behind. Paradise City, another fresh face. Some of these horses that have been proven on turf or have more, even pre-picture has a shot to 6, but you're like Griselda's for Chad is going to take a lot of money. I don't know, man. I know she's 6-1 for a reason, obviously, because Aragona's no fool. I don't love her. Boca Queen coming from Woodbine for a Tard, which is a strange move. There's a lot going on. This is a tricky race.
I agree, it's a tricky race. A lot of moving parts, and as you said, there's the 2 Chad horses in here are going to take money just by default because it's Chad Brown. And to be honest, I didn't think much of either of them. Those were words I could come to regret in a couple of days, but they're going to be able to bet just based on their connections in here. So they're definitely horses I want to try to beat.
I prefer Dylan, by the way. I prefer the 6 over Griselda over the 4. Just want to mention that. But fun race. Great way to kick off the late pick 5. And not an easy one. We both think the number 2 Fast Market at 8-1 has a big shot and is very interesting in this race. Well, I think we both believe that Ready for Candy is the horse to beat, but we'll see. All right. Leg 2, race 8 on Saturday, Jackson, is the start of a series of races for horses that have been claimed for 50,000 or less. So in theory, these are the highest quality claiming horses that are running on Saturday, and there's 4 of them, and none of these races are easy, and we're here to help navigate everyone through this tricky sequence. So let's bring up the next race right now. Race 8. Again, you're going to see starter allowance. All that means is they've started for 50K or less. Very simple. This one is 6 furlongs. on the turf. The rail is up 24 feet. I want to mention that speed might play a little bit better. I know they've gotten a little bit of rain, obviously, in New York, but it's supposed to be okay on Saturday, I believe. Check your weather forecast for that. Field of 10, Moreline favorite is the number 1. Live High, Live Low, George Weaver, and Manny Franco. Jackson is not aware of my picks, so he's seeing these on the bottom of the screen for the first time. You said great minds. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see.
Let's hope.
I'm going 1-5-3. You're going 1-5-10. Of all these races in the late pick 5, Jackson, I thought this one is, I hate to say the most obvious because you know that we're going to get stuffed in the locker by someone, but Live High, Live Low, I do not think is going to go off at 5-2. I think he's very formidable here.
If he's 5-2, this is a race I would probably want to just make my only bet of the day because I think he's much more likely to win than the 5-2 odds indicate. And you mentioned again at the top of the show, there are some horses coming out of tougher races. He's certainly one of them. He ran in the Belmont Turf Sprint, and I actually bet him that day. And coming around the turn, I thought he was in with a shot. It seemed like he had some horse. He had saved a lot of ground, just never quite got through. And I'm pretty confident he would have been at least 4th had he gotten through on the inside. I don't know if he would have been, in the top 2, but he would have been up there. And it was trouble that wasn't also listed in the comment line either, which is, that's what you want. You want to have trouble that's not listed. Everyone's not going to see that unless they actually go back and watch that replay. So that could have the price.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Where do you want me? I actually didn't watch this race, so where do you want me to?
Top of the stretch is probably okay.
All right, and actually the 1 is the 1.
Yeah.
In this race, to the top of the stretch, the rail can be tricky, right? I mean, in any turf sprint, the rail is not ideal. Go ahead in the blue, in the purple here.
Yeah, I mean he's being asked already, but he's kind of responding a little bit. He's trying to get involved, and you're gonna see he gets stuck in between the 2 and the 3. He can't really decide, should he split, should he go inside? Kind of gets stopped right here, and then they kind of just wrap up on him late. Again, I don't think he was probably going to win this race, but I do think he would have gone by the 2 horses in front of him, and right here he just called it a day, and we'll live to fight another day. And those are against way better horses than he's facing in here. And we haven't talked about this yet, Howard, but there's really not much speed, and he probably is going to find himself in a very good trip for the place and saving a lot of ground.
Yeah, that I'll tell you what. If you own that horse, Jackson, like if you and I had a piece of that horse and we were watching live, we were like, "What the?" Can't say the word because talk about wrapping up. Like the jock didn't even try to angle out into like space. He just figured, okay, I'll just take a 5th place check and stay behind. Like that was. You're right. That was very subtle. That was Castellano, who's obviously Hall of Fame rider, but that was not a Hall of Fame ride. Gets Franco now. I was trying to show the speed pace projector. They got the 1 sitting in the pocket. I'm assuming we both would be very happy with that, and perhaps a little more. I don't want to say smarter, but a more luckier stretch run would be nice.
Right. And the exact thing happened to him at Laurel too. That race 2 back in the stake, he got thought off the exact same way. He literally the exact same way. He tried to go inside, didn't work out, and then he had to swing around everyone. So he's had a couple rough trips his last 2 times. I do think he's the best horse in the field. He just got to work out a trip.
Yeah, maybe he's not real brave though. So maybe Franco's going to get him off the rail, Jackson, at some point, right? I mean, I don't think he needs to save ground in this race, right? I mean, sometimes you say, well, he needs to save ground to win because he's 10-1. He's going to be 9-5 here, 8-5, and I don't necessarily want him to save ground, into the stretch, fine, but then angle out and find room somehow. I think would be ideal. I mean, look who he's faced. I mean, Allegan had to hold him, came back and won. Let me go full screen here. Cugino, Run Carson, Gaslight Dance. I mean, I'd be curious to ask David Argona why he isn't lower odds, to be very honest, but I'm not going to question Mr. Aragona. Let's all at the 5. Vacation Dance. Look, we both. I thought about for a while what to do with him. I don't like closers that can get there. I don't see a ton of early speed, but boy, is he consistent. This New York bred, all he does is run. There is a negative jockey switch, although Jamie Rodriguez is very solid. But look, you're coming from IRAD, but this horse fits if the race happens to fall apart. He's got a shot. He's run very solid races time after time.
Yeah, the biggest issue with him is it's just been a while since he's found himself in the winner's circle. But as we said, he's a deeper closer that finds himself in a race without a lot of speed, and therefore he can find himself much, much closer than usual. As I think Time Form would agree with that with a 95 rating. That kind of puts him in the top flight, I would think. I prefer the 1, but the 5 is the horse that scares me because I also could see him getting a pretty good trip in.
I agree. I don't see a lot of others in here. I mean, we have the 3 Devil in Disguise, or I do, sorry, in the mix. He just looks too slow on paper. He's coming back quick, but it's Rudy. Rudy's capable of doing Rudy things, as well as David Jacobson. And well, I'll just leave it at that. You never know. Sometimes the 10 in the mix, I'm freezing up here on the other screen here. I don't know if you have the PPs in front of you or what's going on, but let me. Yeah, actually everything else. Yeah, I'm sorry with the lag here.
That's okay.
Can you hear
The
me
10
okay?
the 10 is
Yeah.
coming is just through the outside post. He's probably the main speed, I would think. Has numbers that fit, but I think it's a tough post for him out there. And I just prefer the 1. The class of the 1, I think, is going to end up prevailing in this spot.
For sure. I'm sorry when having this doesn't usually happen very often, but having some issues here. Okay, I was trying to get the 10. Now I'm frozen. Okay, there we go. All right. Sorry, let it ride. There we go. I've got it on the screen. Go ahead. Go. There you go. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, again, he's just a horse that's going to be forwardly placed in here first off the claim. He's arguably the main speed. It is a tough post for him. He's another one that hasn't found the winner circle in quite some time, but he could get a good trip in here too. I just at the end of the day, I think the 1 is the best horse, and he's going to be very difficult to beat.
Yeah, Cantermassi's got a lot of horses. By the way, both of them have a lot of horses running on this card, and these horses coming back quickly, Jackson. I'm always a little dubious because I sort of feel like they're running back because this race comes up. Like maybe this was the plan on October 9th to claim then run in this race, but I still don't like the quick turnaround in general. That's just me. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't mind it too much, especially when the horse hadn't run in a long time. I would imagine they'd give him some time after this race. We see it at Kentucky Downs every year. They come back and they run twice, but usually it's followed by a longer than usual layoff just to let them recover from it.
That is actually true. But Kentucky Downs is so weird. Chris Couples here. What's up, Chris? Full card of starter allowance races. Buckle your seatbelts. LOL. Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen, Chris? It's going to be completely wide open. Tom says we'll be watching Kipco Champions Day Saturday early. Yes. Some of them may come to Del Mar. So I'm glad you actually brought that up, Tom, because those of you that are part of Team HHH, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe Davey Lane's going to have a larger than normal tip sheet, Jackson, international tip sheet, which of course you'll receive also as part of the crew. Not only covering Champions Day in the UK at Ascot, which are major races. Once in a while they do come over to Del Mar. I'm not sure it's going to be the case this time. Usually it's a 3-week gap between those and the Breeders' Cup. It's only 2 weeks this year. We'll see. But there is the richest race in the world, by the way, is Friday night, tomorrow night in Australia. It's the Everest 6 furlongs Yaking Rising. Are you familiar with this horse, Jackson? This is a total turf sprinting freakazoid that's running Friday night.
I've been looking up numerous times, but my phone ringing from Rian calling me, telling me Yaking Rising is running at Hong Kong at 2 a.m. So I have seen him run several times. He's very, very cool. I hope he runs well.
Oh yeah, no, he's really cool. And actually, I'll tell you what else was cool. They had the post draw. They did it with drones. They like drones in the air.
I heard about
the post draw. You go check it out, and it was pretty cool. Davey Lane sent me a video of that. So much for the old ping pong balls. We've come a long way, I should say. Jeff Amster is here. I agree with Matt, who said something I'm sure somewhat indulgent. The tote manipulations. Yeah, somebody had McKeelan today, didn't it, Jax? I don't know if we want to go there, but there's an exacta or a try? Exacta, right? Both that paid a little lower than we would have expected.
I believe it was 44-1 over 53-1, and it paid about $250.
Yeah, that's for conversation for another day. I was teaching at the moment, or teaching all day. I'm not really paying attention to Keelan right now. Oh, there we go. There's Matt was talking about it. Make some changes. Yeah, that's for another show for another time. But maybe we can get our buddy Jim Goodman on the horn, Jackson. Although I suppose he's taking some unwarranted heat right now, so maybe now is not a good time to talk to him. Anyway, let's get back to NYRA. Let me go ahead and switch the screen here and get on to race 9. So we're going with the 1 mainly in race 8. Both Jackson and I really like the 1. All right. Race 9, another starter allowance. This is a mile on the dirt. Same condition. They've had to be claimed for 50K or less since July 1st, 2004. Oh, look at the number 7. I wonder if Jackson Muniz is going to go with the number 7, Jackson Heights, who apparently when he plays does well, and when he does play doesn't do well. I don't know. We'll hear more from Jackson Muniz, Jackson the human, not Jackson the horse, in just a moment. Big field. Moorline favorite is the speedy number 9, Light the Way, for Linda and Mr. Carmouche. Let's see where we are going right now as I bring it on the screen into race 9. Oh, we are very different. Wow. All right, I'm going 3-9-4. Jackson is not going with the 7. Jackson is going 6-8-3. Emirates Road, Jackson, is a closer and a talented one. Will it set up for him, Cox, and Franco? Apparently you believe it will.
I feel like it's got to, right? With just by default how large this field is. I mean, there's 12 horses, there's horses stretching out, there's horses that want to be forward. It's not going to be slow, I'll tell you that much. I'm confident in that, at least, that he's going to get some kind of setup in this spot. And this is another race that I spent so much time on, I couldn't figure out. I was on 5 different horses at one point. There's finally
the time
came back
form,
to,
by the way, on the screen, Jackson.
Yeah. I finally, what hit me is, look, if he runs back that race he ran last time, when he ran an absolute hole into the wind, I'm going to look like a complete genius when he wins at 7-2 when he runs back that 105 number. But if he doesn't, if that was a ridiculously fluky number and he only runs back to those 1 turn races he ran last November and September and August, those high 80 numbers, those are also probably good enough to win this race as well if things work out in his favor. So I think 7-2, he might be the value in this race because, again, if he runs that 105, he's going to win for fun. If he runs back those other races, he can still win this thing too. So that's kind of where I settled on for him. I completely understand if anyone wants to say, like, why did he go away for 10 months after that? He's a complete toss. I get it. Then this is a race where you can make a case for so many other horses, and I won't talk you off of them. But for me, that's kind of what it boiled down to with this horse.
I think you spelled out very well, Jackson. I totally get it. This horse to me is a total play or non-play based on the odds. Now, I don't have him in the top 3, Jackson. I don't know if you agree with this statement or not, but I think there's always signal in the noise. If this horse is 3-1, 5-2, I mean, look out. He is cranked. He's ready to go because they know, as Mr. Sterling likes to say once in a while. So if this horse is bet, look out. But I'll tell you what, Jackson, maybe you disagree. If this horse is 6-1, I want no part of him. Now, look, it is Cox. He's great off layoffs. When you look at the work tab, which I'm sure you did carefully, obviously he hasn't run since February. He worked April. Then there's a major, major gap. 2 very, very slow works. Jackson, to me, and then he had 2, better works, but he's really only had 1 work where he's been cranked. I don't know, man. This is very shaky. And where he's been in 10 months, I don't know. He's not going to run the 105. He runs the 105. I don't even know what to say. To be honest, if he runs a mid-80s, I will personally be impressed. He can win, Jackson, but just for me, you got to help me out here. There's just way too many question marks for me to put him on top. But I guess he's capable. I don't know what to say. This is a weird, weird situation.
No, I totally get it. And again, this is a horse where you're either completely with or you are just chucking out the window. And I think you got to figure out which side of that line you want to be on with this horse. Obviously, we're on different sides, but I don't think either of us are wrong for picking one over the other.
No.
This is a very competitive race, like I said.
Let me ask you one more quick question. We don't know for a fact. Do you think Brad, so the horse, something happened to the horse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they looked at the stake schedule in July, August when they're ready to get him cranked up and like, ooh, there's a starter allowance race. Let's get him ready for that. Or do you think it's more the case of whenever he was ready, he's ready, and this is the race that came up? You know what I mean?
Knowing Brad Cox, who loves to be a shorter price in these races, I think this is probably one they may have circled, at least somewhat recently, because it is a bigger purse, and this is a field that's probably lighter than what he would face, say, in an open stakes race, obviously.
Yeah, this is really a fascinating entrant. I'm going to go with, I would call a safer. Doesn't mean it's going to be correct. To me, a safer pick. When I saw 10-1, I was like, what? Dr. Kraft is really good. My first thought was, well, maybe he's a Parks horse. Maybe no, this is a New York horse through and through. It's a New York bred. He is in raging form, Jackson. Now, the big question to me is, can he rate if necessary against this type of field? I think he can. Jamie Rodriguez rode him last time. He's in really good form. He fits on every number that I see. The works have been nothing special, but Cantor Massey doesn't always work his horses fast, and I got to believe that this horse is absolutely ready to go. You have this horse third, 10-1 to me would be completely silly. I mean, he's got to work out a trip. It's a good race. He's got to deal with the 9 Light the Way, who I have in second here. You don't actually have anywhere. Light the Way is 3-1 for Linda. Stretching out, I'm not sure a mile is the best distance for Light the Way. I envision the Light the Way actually gaining the lead and the 3 sitting off. I don't know if you feel the same.
I have the same question about the 3 because I don't think he's going to be able to establish the pace like he has in his last 2 victories. But at 10-1, look, he's a horse that's very capable of winning. I handicapped this race before the odds came out, and I kind of assumed the 9 would be like 6 or 7-1, and it turns out he's the more than 9 favorite. So that's kind of what turned me away from him. If I'm going to take a shorter price on a horse, I prefer the 6. But again, the 9 is another horse that can win this thing.
It absolutely might heat up. By the way, there's your horse, who frankly looks a little bit overmatched.
We're putting him into the winner's circle. Every time this horse wins, I get about 7 text messages from people saying, "Oh, you had to have cash. You had to have cash." I've never once cashed in this horse. He always beats me. Always.
You know what's funny? This is Zilla. Guess who else is Zilla? Dr. Kraft. So they got a little closer speed kind of thing going there with Zilla Racing, who, by the way, Paul Halloran has a piece of some horses with Zilla. 24 Mamba. Classy individual. Distance, last time, absolutely complete disaster. And actually, I liked him a little bit there in that spot. I don't know what happened when Bucarino beat Full Moon Madness. That was the last race of the day, right? On Pennsylvania Derby Day. This horse has faced some serious horses. I just don't know if a mile is what he wants.
Yeah, I wish I could say that what happens at Parks stays at Parks, but he was atrocious last time. I don't know what happened there. Maybe he just needed Lasix. Maybe he hated the racetrack. I have no idea. But I do know his form prior to that was pretty good. I do agree the mile might be stretching it a little bit late, but I do think the best version of him can be hanging in there in the final furlong, and we'll see if he gets a little too tired to finish this thing out going 8 furlongs.
Yeah, I think it's a bit interesting. And I threw the 4 Bromito in the mix. I mean, Jackson, I don't know your opinion on this horse, but if it does heat up, this one that can close, he's got a 94 going 1.125 miles. He's gone 1.8 miles the last 3, so he's got a lot of bottom to him. He beat 24 Mamba last time at Saratoga. I would not sleep on Bromito here. Just in looking at this race again, I'm sort of regretting my pick with the 9 in second, to be honest. I just think there's a lot of speed in here. What's wrong with this runner that gets Cancel and Gustavo Rodriguez?
He's another competitor in this field. Look, he ran really well last time, got a 91 buyer. The 2-back race, he was wide on a day. It was probably the biggest rail bias of the entire meet at Saratoga that summer. He was never near the rail that day. I think you just chucked that one out the window. And then a 3-back race, he was awesome in that race too. So, his 2 of his last 3 are very, very good. And the 1 bad race, he had an excuse for. So I'm not going to talk you off that horse either.
Yeah, no, it's another fun race. So we'll see what happens there in that flat mile dirt race. Let's go ahead to the penultimate race of this late pick 5. Of course, again, starter allowance. Before we get to that, I do want to mention something very important. It's actually, I'm going to take off this scroll for a second. Jackson is going to be part of this. Of course, I am as well. And as long as every talent, we have very special Breeders' Cup only Power Pick tip sheet. It is now on sale. And I'm going to show you where you can get it. It's over 20 pages. That's right. 20 pages of coverage for the Breeders' Cup. And it's only $35 if you're currently a Saturday Standard Power Pick subscriber. And if you're not, you're thinking, well, you must be charging us a ton. No, just $45. Just $10 more for 20 pages. 20 pages, $35 to $45, when I've seen upwards of 75, 80, 85 in other publications. And all you have to do, it's very simple. I'm going to put it on the screen here. You go to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Let me take this off the screen. And underneath the Power Pick Tip Sheet tab, just click on that. And the drop down, Breeders' Cup Power Picks. You click on that. You can find out about our Breeders' Cup Power Picks. There we go. Here they are. You can find out all about it, how you purchase it, where you pay for it, etc., which is through PayPal or Venmo. And we also have examples, and I think this is important. We have last year's edition. You can look through the entire, 32 pages? Wow. You can look through the previous editions as well. So, Jackson, people should buy it for several reasons. 2 main reasons I can think. Number 1, you want to crush on Breeders' Cup Day. Number 2, you like to support the podcast and all the hardworking people. I have a lot of fun putting that together, Jackson. I know you were part of it. Was last year the first year, I believe, for you? Oh, you
I
didn't
think
do it
this year's the
last year,
first year.
actually.
This
This
year's the
year,
first year.
because that's right. You're that new to the podcast officially. So this is actually your first year, but you've seen it before.
Oh,
I think it's a real solid publication with a lot of good betting tips too, Jackson.
yeah, and look, we're not just putting this together in 4 seconds. Like we're doing our homework for weeks and weeks and weeks leading up to it. So we're putting our best foot forward for that one too. And we were talking about it earlier this week, and spoiler alert, I'm doing the Philly Mare Turf. I was complaining about the Philly Mare Turf being the last race for about a solid 15 hours, and then you're like, yeah, that's the race you're going to do. So probably going to work out for the best. That's
Yeah, I want to make sure you guys stay on your toes with the Euros, right? And speaking of Euros, we're going to have several shows with the Euros. One with Davey Lane. We were hoping, cross our fingers, for 30 in a row, Jackson, to get Mr. Aiden O'Brien live. Actually, well, he's not going to be live on the show, but we are going to do an interview with him. Hopefully, Davey Lane. We've had Michael Adolphson on before. We're going to have Emmett Kennedy from Final Furlong podcast. We're going to have the Europeans covered like a glove. And attention, American punters, the Euros are really good on turf. Just want to let you know, and are probably going to whip our butts again, or maybe not. Maybe Johannes will have something to say about that in the mile, or maybe Gold Phoenix. And I laugh because Jackson, I got a little Gold Phoenix thing going. He loves Gold Phoenix.
He's going to run third this year.
I think he's got no chance at all. What's that, Jackson?
He's going to run third. This is his year. I can feel it. He's
okay. Well, Jackson have a side bet. Will Gold Phoenix come in the money? I say no. Jackson says yes. What did I offer you? Like 8-1 or something on that bet? Or something
like that. And I
something ridiculous. On it. I think I might have gotten a little. I was a little cheeky at that point, but anyway, it should be fun. Race. What are we at? Race 10, right? Penultimate leg. Yes,
the
penultimate leg.
Yeah.
Yep. Here we go. Mile 16th on the turf. So males going long. Field of 12. Morning line favorite. Look at the morning lines here. Wow. Morning line favorite is the number 4, Risk Manager. One of, I think Maker's got 2. Yeah, one of 2 for Maker. This one is going to be ridden by Flavian. And we should mention, I'll bring you on full screen, Jackson. Flavian is spending the entire winter this year at his now new home base with his family. His kids are getting older, going to school. Flavian in December and January against a decent colony, but certainly not the best colony, in New York for the season. I think he might have a big winter meet, Mr. Flavian Pratt, Jackson.
I have a feeling he'll do okay for himself this winter. Yeah. It'll be curious to see if he can compete for the title, because I know he's going to be based in New York, but I imagine he'll be flying out quite often on the big Saturdays. So
that's fair. And there's no turf racing, of course, but I think he's a pretty darn good rider on dirt too. He's just one of the best riders in the world. Anyway, big field. Let's see where we are going here as I put up the banners. I see a lot of comments in the chat. We'll get to them here. Okay, I'm going 10, 3, 6. Jackson going 5, 12, 10. Son of a birch. Oh, wait, that's the horse. Jackson, 12-1, Falcone and Carmouche, my friend.
Yeah, if someone tells you that they have a confident pick in this race, they're lying to you. This race is absolutely impossible. There are 12 horses in the gate, and there are probably 10 or 11 that can win. I mean, this is a phenomenal betting race. I settled on this horse who's going to be a bit of a price in here. I just really like what he's done since stretching out to 2 turns for the first time in maybe his career. That race in May over this course was a much better field than he's facing here. He's facing some toughies and Donegal Momentum. And then he beat Hush of a Storm, who came right back to win, or to run a second in a stake race by nose. And then the other horse who was in there was, forgetting his name, Big Everest, who came right back and won and finished second. Another very good horse. That was a quality field he ran against that day. He was third. Then last time they tried him in that race at Saratoga, and it wasn't a super hot pace. He just never was able to get clear sailing at any point in the stretch in that race. Kind of just wrapped up the entire time, just basically ran around in a circle. And I think that race is much better than it looks on paper. I do think he would have been right there at the wire had he had clear run. And look, Kendrick is aboard. I think he's going to be a little bit more aggressive because he has proven that in the past. He can be fourthly placed running in all these turf sprint races. So I think he'll be getting a pretty good trip in this spot. He's going to be a price, and I think he's every bit as good as anyone else in this field.
This looks like the one, right? A little bit. Yeah. Let's go back a little bit like the one that we watched earlier. He's in I'll let you take it through so people can learn. He's in the orange.
Yeah, he's in the orange, and look, the rider's looking for somewhere to go. He's clearly not pushing him because he has nowhere to accelerate at. He's just sitting behind horses waiting for something to open up. and it's just never going to open up. You see him compared to the horse like the 5, who's completely all in and coming back in the same race. I mean, there's just nowhere for him to go at any point. And at no point in that race did he have an opportunity to be successful. So that's a horse I want to bet back almost automatically every time, as long as he's supposed to get has a fighting chance in the race, which I think he does.
One of the reasons I appreciate Jackson's work, and frankly, a lot of people's work on our podcast, is for reasons that we just saw Jackson. You look at the PP, you're like, oh, 7th by 1 with a 78. That doesn't even nearly tell the story. I mean, look at that trouble that he had. Now, there is one thing that I don't like about that race, and it's not about the actual run. I don't like that he was in for 40. Maybe I'm nitpicking. It was awful long layoff. Maybe Falcone just didn't know exactly what he had under the hood, Jackson, because you wouldn't think he'd be in for 40 after racing in such high level. So you think that was, again, we're speculating, but this is part of horse racing, trying to figure out the signal and the noise. Was that a case that maybe Falcone just didn't know what he had? Or was he worried maybe the horse isn't fully sound? I mean, we don't know, but we can speculate.
Yeah, it's tough to say. Most tracks, I would agree. Tracks like Saratoga and tracks like Keeneland and Del Mar, these connections also just want to win. So sometimes they're dropping into places where they think they're going to be very, very successful. Maybe that was the case that day.
We got a new name, Jackson. We got a new name for the show.
And again, the other thing is you talked about a second ago is the comment line says outcade. He clearly that was not the case at all that day. And I think that's only going to help the price come Saturday.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a price. Matt Miller, what's up, Matt? How are you? It's an absolute no-brainer for anyone who didn't figure out how to sign up for Team HHH. This Breeders' Cup package should be an insta decision to get it. Thank you, Matt. Do appreciate that. We're very proud of it. Again, the Breeders' Cup Power Pick tip sheet, go to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com, on sale now through, I believe, Wednesday of the Breeders' Cup. So it's on sale literally for 2 weeks. We also have Matt Majunkin, who I had the pleasure of meeting, by the way, Jackson, for the first time at the tournament. Fantastic guy. Congrats on his 3rd place finish. Talk about a contest player that does well. I mean, all this guy does is at the top of the leaderboard. Not a hot take, but if we get the Euros that are expected, we'll be lucky to get an American turf winner at the Breeders' Cup. Thoughts, Jackson?
I'd be curious to see a line on the number of American wins. What would you set it at? Would you put it at 2?
In
Two
turf races?
Turf races total.
So how many, dumb question, how many turf races are there?
There are 8. 3 on Friday and 5
8 of the 14? That seems like a lot. Is that right?
Isn't it? Or is it 7 and 7?
I don't know.
It might be 7 and 7.
Well, we could, anyway, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's
well, there's
not a lot of American stars on the grass right now.
Right, there's 3 on Friday, and then we could rattle, there's a whole bunch.
Philly Mare, turf, mile, turf sprint, Philly Mare, turf. 8. Did I count any of them twice?
Is it 8? Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, I think the better question, we got 2 weeks to talk about this, Jackson, but we have a little bit of time here. I think instead of trying to figure out which races the Euros are going to win, the better question is which races are the Euros not going to win. I would say the turf sprint could be an American for sure.
Sure.
Although they've done very well. Hashtag Starlust. They've done very well recently, but the American turf sprinters are pretty damn good. Yeah. Other than that, boy, we'll have to see who Aiden brings over. He's bringing a horse over, by the way, called Puerto Rico. Look out for that one in the juvenile. I think that's a male horse. I don't see a lot of Americans winning at all in the turf races. But anyway, we got plenty of time to talk about that. Matt, thanks for joining the show. Appreciate it. I'm just looking here. Okay, Son of a Birch. So you like Son of a Birch for all the reasons we just mentioned. I'll let you talk also for your 2nd place runner, and then I'll discuss. You got Con Man at 12-1 for the aforementioned Cantermasi and Savachi. Well, say that 10 times fast. An improving horse, a New York bred, tough post though.
Very difficult post, but I do think as large as this field is, there wasn't a whole lot of speed. And you go back to that race 2 back at Saratoga, I thought he ran really well that day. He was always on top of a very fast pace that completely fell apart. And he was clearly best in that race. And you saw the horse who finished 2nd, slap in the face, came right back to win. So I thought that race was phenomenal. The last time they tried him against, Rhetorical, he was never going to be Rhetorical, obviously. Didn't have the best trip ever in that race either, for as small as a field as that was. So he's another that's, on the improve. He needs to get forwardly placed. He needs to be able to save some ground in a race like this. But if he can break and get over towards the rail, I don't see why he can't make some noise in this spot either.
Pretty cool. Savachi's coming down from Woodbine to run this card. It's either there's a female Savachi also, right? I don't want to be disrespectful. This is the male Savachi, I believe. Yeah, riding. Gonna have to be aggressive for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, not only face Rhetorical, but face the Adelphi monster combo of Better Lucky Than Good to finish second. And, well, a little too much for Jem in that race, but Jem's not quite as good as he has been. But shout out to the Adelphi runners again. I'm thinking a little different than you are, which is great. I don't know if there's a ton of speed, and I like Wally World. Now, Jackson, let me put you on screen because I was playing on this. I don't want to put you on the spot. I've got a few years on you. Do you understand the Wally World name / reference? Do you know where that comes from?
Not a clue.
Okay, that's okay. Now, for people at home, don't crap on Jackson, because it'd be like asking Jackson. It'd be like asking me to talk about a movie that happened in the 60s. I was born in 71, Jackson. So
Howard.
Wally World, let me put it on the screen. What happened?
What's the 6-7 reference? I'll ask you that next.
No one really knows what it is, do they?
Oh, I know.
I know it came from like a rapper or something, right? There was a music reference at first, but
yeah, okay, good job.
I mean, I knew that. Well, I teach high school, Jackson. I mean, I'm in the know a little bit. So Wally World, it was a fictional amusement park in the very famous National Lampoon movies with Chevy Chase, and there's like the National Lampoon's European Vacation and Christmas Vacation. Are you familiar with that series, Jackson? It was back in the early 2000s. Yeah. Well, the very first one, which if you've never seen National Lampoon's Vacation, the first one, Jackson, it is an absolute must. The whole family travels across the country to get to this fictional amusement park called Wally World. So there you go. There's the reference. There we go. Family Vacation, Tom, was hilarious. Matt Miller said Howard and Clark Griswold. That was the name of the character, the main character Chevy Chase played. Wow, really? like what, Matt? I'd like to Matt, I'd like to hear like having like dead grandmothers in their car. Is that Matt knows the reference? He's watching and knows the reference. So I don't know. Everyone who's watching that would yes, Jeff Hamster. So John Candy, I'm assuming you've heard of him, Jackson. He's passed away, but great actor, hilarious, whatever. He was actually the security guard at the entrance of the amusement park when they couldn't get in. It was closed. So they drove 3 weeks across the country to get to Wall World, and they get there and it was closed. So I was gonna do a Marty Moose impression, everyone, but I won't. Jackson has no idea what we're talking about. But anyway, that's
John
okay.
Candy's Uncle Buck, right?
Yes, correct.
And he goes to the races.
Correct.
I know who that is. Yeah. He goes to the races and won that movie, I think. So yeah.
There you go, Matt. Sorry, folks. Park's closed. You'd have to watch. I'm making a complete fool of myself. Just watch the movie or check it out on YouTube and you'll understand, Jackson. It's all good. Right. Then he punches the moose. It's absolutely hilarious. Anyway, Wally World has a big shot to win this race. For Safi is going to go to the lead, or I hope is close to the lead. I know he's been in an allowance company, Jackson, but his numbers are really good. He's improving. He's a little bit wide with his post. I think Franco's going to be aggressive. I like Wally World to win it for the Griswold, and anyone a fan of that fantastic movie. You've got the 10 and third. I also threw in the 6 and the 3. Real quick, Risk Manager, a very good closer for Maker, has a big shot. I think the 3 is the other Maker, if I remember that correctly. Oh, no, sorry. Lindsay Schultz with the number 3, highest distinction. Another horse that might be coming too far out of it. Jackson, this race is just, I mean, what a card. This race is completely wide open.
Yeah, this is another wide open race, and as you can mention, this is a really good card. I haven't even checked out the first 5 or 6 yet, but if they're anything like this early like this late sequence, it's a doozy.
Yeah, it's tough. And Jackson, I apologize for my goofiness. Just if you know the movie, just go to YouTube, my friend, and just check out some clips. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Just do Wally World Moose or something, or Marty Moose. You'll laugh. I promise you, my friend, you'll laugh. All right. What's not a laughing matter is the last race, because we're trying to somehow close out this very difficult sequence with a win. 6 furlongs on the turf, field of 10. These are fillies and mares, actually. Moreline favored the number 6. I believe it's pronounced Sinane. I could be completely wrong about that. Cox and Franco. I didn't have a chance to watch replays to get the name pronunciation. I apologize for that. Let's see where we're going here. Last race today. I'm going 12.65 for me. Jackson 1.68. Again, we're pretty much different here. You're going with Dub Off. Dub Off is a J bred for Sacco and Marin getting good maybe at the right time with the rail.
Yeah, I think I think she's a little interesting in this spot. I know after that race on the 21st of June at Belmont, when she aired that day, and they actually entered her in a stake race off of that effort where she would have been somewhat competitive to the easier spot in the allowance race, where again she ran fine in that spot, kind of made the first move and just got run down late. Obviously, they brought her back at Monmouth. She did what she was supposed to do, right? She beat that field very, very easily. But I do think she's got numbers that put her right in the mix. She's got speed, but doesn't need the lead. I think she's going to get a good trip from the rail. And, I do think the 6 is way the horse is beaten here. But after that, I thought you can kind of make a case for about anyone. And I'm hoping she gets the right kind of trip. She's still somewhat lightly raced. She could take a step forward. And 8-1, I thought was a very square price.
I am not going to knock anyone in a turf sprint in general. It's just not my cup of tea, as Jackson, most people know, which is why it's going to be pretty much a full skip at the Breeders' Cup. Not afraid to say that in the BCBC for
Sure.
me, unless something really, really stands out. But yes, the one is interesting. These horses can get better very, very quickly, and it's going to be able to save ground. I went to the complete opposite. Now, let me make this very clear for everyone. First of all, I don't even know if the 12 is going to get in. Top Gun Girl. The 12 is on the AE list, needs 2 scratches, but that's okay. I'm going to mention this horse anyway. There's not a lot of speed in this race, Jackson. And I know the 12 is way on the outside, but this is Jamie Ness coming off a big win, who's actually run okay was actually really good on turf in 23 and 24. Not quite as good for Wesley Ward. Definitely not as good for Brittany Russell. But you know what? Maybe Ness has got this horse back into form. There's not a lot of early speed in this race. That's my main angle. Now, obviously, if the 12 doesn't get in, it's a moot conversation. Now just go ahead and chalk out with the number 6, Sinane, who, for all the reasons you said, can be up close, can be not too far back, has run very well. Leslie's humor is a pretty good animal that I've been right and wrong on many times. Go ahead.
She probably should have won last time. That was talk about brutal trips. I mean, she was that comment line is legit. She was stymied the entire stretch. By the time she got out, those horses were gone. She probably should have won.
I like third start off the in the form cycle for Brad. Franco. This one fits. It's look. There's a lot of ways to go. I threw the 5 in the mix, strictly taboo for Miguel. Who can we say how good a training job Miguel Clement has done always, but especially since his father's passing, unfortunately. But I mean, he just had a great Saratoga meet. This guy's live on everything. Savachi's here. She can close and be a factor. And then you've got the 8, the last horse we'll talk about here. Why don't you talk a little about Sol Hope, another possible speed horse, putting blinkers on for Maker and Flavian. I mean, nothing wrong with those combinations.
Yeah, I wasn't quite as confident in you that there isn't a lot of speed in here. I wasn't quite sure what to do with the pace, because there are horses that want to go and there are horses that sometimes go and sometimes they don't. So I think she's a horse that has a versatile running style. She can be, she can be forward or she can come from out of it. So I do like that versatility she has. And she does have some backlash in a race where a lot of these horses are coming out of softer spots. So there's some things to like about her.
Yeah, I thought out of the starter allowance races, Jackson, these weren't the killers that we've seen some of these other fields. By the way, there's the speed situation. They don't have it hot. They don't have it cold. They have the 9 up front bunch together. They don't even have the 12 on here because the 12's on the AE list. So just wanted to mention that. All right, Jackson, let's go to our best bets. We'll wrap up the show. We really appreciate everyone listening and watching tonight. It's been a lot of fun covering these races. Jackson, you're going to make it very simple, my friend. It's on the screen for people that can't see it and are listening. Tell everyone about your best bet, Jackson.
Live high, live low. Number 1, race number 8. I hope we get 5-2. I just think he's very, very, very likely winner. Even if he's 3-2, I think that's value. I think he's the class of the field by a mile. I think he's gonna almost be guaranteed a good trip as long as he comes out of the gate, because he's probably faster than a lot of these horses. And I think his last two are much better than they look on paper because he had legit trouble with both of them. If he got clear sailing in either of those, then you'd see him at even money because his number would be 94s instead of 87. So just get him some kind of trip in there and hope you win as the best horse.
So you go as low as 3-2 on the win end?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't disagree with that, actually. Chris was talking about when Chris was on Weekend Warriors, he hammered the 6 and she was tons the best. That's Sinane, Chris Couples is talking about. By the way, people are wondering, Weekend Warriors will be back at some point. We're taking a little break here going to the Breeders' Cup with a lot of major stake races not running right now. So we will be back with that. And plus some other big announcements in November. Cross our fingers, knock on wood, which we'll share with people later. My best bets are coming up I'm going to go with the pick 3. I'm going to play a pick 3 starting in race 9. I'm going to go 3-4-9 with 3-6-10 with 6-12. If the 12 is not in the last race, I will detour. I don't know where I would detour. I suppose. Well, I you know what? In turf sprints, Jackson, I always like to have speed and a closer if possible. You know what? I'll put the 1 in there. There we go. I'll throw in Jackson's 1. So maybe we'll go 1-6 instead of 6-12 in the last race out of Brotherhood there. I don't know. I'd have to look at it. Jackson, when people look at a tough sequence and they don't have maybe the money they want to spend because Breeders' Cup is coming up, what do you recommend strictly from a horizontal standpoint?
From horizontal, I think you need to ask yourself what your best opinion is. You definitely need to figure that out. That's the first thing you got to figure out. If it's just the one horse, then maybe you just bet a double. If you think there are other races, if you think the other races you can kind of narrow down, then maybe you key that horse around everywhere else. It's tough though, because when you say you want to play a little bit of a lighter tickets, then you kind of need to narrow things down. So this is a very difficult sequence though. Is this one you would want to play, like pick 5?
Well, we did the damn show, so I have to say yes, right? No.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily. You could still be
I don't know. I would probably surround. I don't know if I'd play the pick 5, but I'd definitely do something around the 1 in race 8, maybe a double, maybe a pick 3 and just single the 1. The last race to me is troublesome. I will say that. I do like Waller World quite a bit in race 10, actually. So, and I think your son of a birch idea is very interesting. So maybe I would go 5-10 in there and play a light, pick 3, either starting with the 1 or something around race 8. So I don't know. I'd have to look at it. That is the start of the pick 4. Maybe I pay a light pick 4 and just single the 1, right? And then, maybe just go 2 deep in race 10 and spread in race 9 and 11. So it'd be like 1 by, 6 by 2 by 6, $36 ticket, something cheap like that, right? Maybe press up once because I got to save money for Breeders' Cup weekend. But yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. I got to see how scratches are. We got to make sure the weather is good and whatnot. So anyway, Jackson, a lot of fun today, my friend. Very quickly, I know people see you on our show all the time, but just where else can people find you this week on other shows you might have been on?
Yeah, we did on Tuesday. We did PHP with Noah. Talked about all the West Coast horses running in the Breeders' Cup, and
that was awesome, by the way.
I was pretty surprised about how many of those races. I'm like, wow, the West Coast has a legit shot. They should probably win that one. No, they could probably win that one too. I just wasn't expecting that. So that was about an hour on Tuesday. I did that. Obviously, the show and the money. We're on a couple shows a week, so check us out. A lot of fun. All right. Always a lot of fun.
There you go. Appreciate it. Had a great time tonight, everyone, and we hope everyone does this. Let me just put it up there on Saturday, or in New York or wherever you might be doing that. So for good friend and subbing in, did a great job, co-host of Picks and Ponies tonight, Jackson Muniz. This has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 432. Crush your bets in New York this Saturday. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Kravitz. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.